Hi, I'm Skinny Cheeks. Today I'll be going through the Week 4 patch notes for Update 33, the Ascending Tide DLC. This is the second to the last week of changes on the PTS, with Week 5 being what are generally the final adjustments and what we'll see on the live server, which will be coming out on March 14th to PC and March 29th to console. So once we get that final bit of changes next week, I will start finalizing a lot of my builds, and the goal is to have the website up to date with at least most of the classes by the launch of the DLC. And then I'll be posting videos here on YouTube as well for the classes that I've had a chance to spend a little bit more time with testing stuff out. So that's the current game plan. Let's go ahead and jump into this week's changes. So the first thing here is with the museum achievements. In order to allow characters to participate in finding each museum's objects and obtain the reward for doing so, we're making all museum achievements character-based rather than account-wide. We are continuing to explore a better solution to this problem, but wanted to ensure that you can at least continue earning these rewards on all characters in the meantime. And I really like the line there, we are continuing to explore a better solution. I hope that they're looking at all of the account-wide achievement stuff from that point of view. So for those that haven't been following, the official feedback thread for the coming account-wide achievements is quickly becoming one of the most responded to in ESO forums history. Unfortunately, outside of this change, we really haven't had any communication on what is going on internally with all of this from ZOS. Are they considering implementing some of the feedback given? Are they happy with how everything is and they're going to keep it? Who knows? It would be great to at least hear where they are with all of this, and if it will possibly be delayed to update 34 to iron out the kinks, or if they're just going to go full speed ahead regardless of the consequences that may follow. We did get a brief follow-up last week from the forum manager Kevin. He said, "For those asking about the Q&A, we are currently working on it. We will let you know when it is ready." Again, as many of you have noted, this is a lengthy thread with a lot of feedback, so it will take time to parse through and answer questions accordingly. But as stated before, we are not only working on the Q&A, but this thread has been shared with the teams working on the account-wide achievements, and they are going through it as well. So I guess at some point we will be getting further info about it, but we'll just have to wait and see when that happens. I do wish this communication and Q&A would have happened a little earlier in the PTS, because by the time we will have a chance to read through their official response and then give our own feedback on that, it likely won't leave us any time for anything to happen before the patch goes live. So hopefully they got a lot of good info and feedback on the first go round. Next up are some balance tweaks to the new dungeons. I actually haven't run these both yet. I've only done Shipwright's Regret once, so I won't go through all these changes, as frankly, I probably won't even understand what's being changed, and there might be some spoilery type stuff in here too about the specific mechanics. Next is a tweak to the Sunspire trial for the final boss Navintas. The powerful slam ability no longer moves the player character killed by the attack, and you are no longer able to move while recovering from the knockback. So pretty much this would cause a desync when a player died to this, and their body would be in a different spot from where they actually could be resurrected from. Pretty annoying little bug here that's been around forever, so I'm glad they were finally able to take care of that. Next up is a pretty significant change to one of the new monster sets, Nunatak. Updated this set to apply its debuff stacks more consistently, and now applies Major Brittle on a target that has 4 debuff stacks, no longer requiring the target to also be immobilized. So previously this set required the immobilization to actually go off for the Major Brittle to be applied. This made it really hit or miss in PvP, since targets can have CC immunity, and made it unusable against bosses in PvE because you can't immobilize elite enemy types like that. So now they changed it so that the Major Brittle applies on the 4th stack whether the immobilization is applied or not. So the set by itself, for PvE purposes anyways, is not really too attractive, since it only lasts for 4 seconds but has a 15-second cooldown. However, if you have someone wearing Nunatak and then someone else wearing Nazare, you can coordinate for that 4-second Major Brittle to be extended up to 34 seconds max. Nazare extends all major and minor debuffs on nearby targets whenever the wearer casts an ultimate, so at the maximum stored up ult of 500, Nazare will add 30 seconds to those debuff timers. This should be pretty easy to coordinate for an opening, so for shorter burst fights this will be a really nice option and allow for different champion point choices for the damage dealers to squeeze out a little more DPS and still hit that crit cap. Beyond that first extended application though, it will require a little bit more purposeful coordination to get the most out of it. Once the Frost AoE is down, you have 4 seconds before that major Brittle is applied, and then the wearer of Nazare will have a 4-second window to extend it out further by casting an ultimate. And it definitely doesn't always have to go that full 30 seconds either. Since the cooldown is only 15 seconds on Nunatak, you really only need a little extra time out of it to get some good uptimes on that major Brittle. But you'll also ideally want your other big debuffs like major vulnerability applied whenever the extension from Nazare goes out, so you can see how it might be a little tricky to line everything up. But with some good callouts and coordination, this could definitely have a nice impact for damaging groups. And even for lesser coordinated groups that don't always get that timing between the two monster sets down, having that extra 20% crit damage from Major Brittle, even if the DPS aren't adjusting their builds to account for it, well, I think this can be really nice to offset some other buffs and debuffs not having perfect uptimes, like the Major Force you get from Warhorn or the 10% you get from Minor Brittle. So I think adding this in and at least attempting to get some use out of it will be worth a slot in most 12-person trial groups, but overall pretty interesting. We do still have that hard cap of 125% crit damage, but this opens up some more possible options to reach that or at least stay at it more often. But that's pretty much it for this week. We'll see what all comes in the week 5 patch notes. I'll definitely cover them if there's anything significant there, and then that will probably be the last changes we'll see before getting update 33. I'm definitely interested to see how all of this stuff plays out in the coming weeks. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments how y'all feel about the changes. A big thanks to my current Patreon supporters. If you want to see how you can help support to keep these guides coming, there will be a link to my Patreon in the description with options as little as $3. And the YouTube join button is now live as well with the same benefits set up as the Patreon if you are more comfortable with that. A special thanks to Nicholas, Simon, Cougar is Bay in the Cougar City Guild, the Order of War Guild, Iffy, Cantankerous Cat, Shady, Blakewin816, Mordecai1212, and my wonderful wife. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.